So good evening. As everybody knows, there were a series of gas leaks and explosions that resulted from those gas leaks earlier this evening in North Andover, Andover, and in Lawrence. In a minute, you're going to hear from Andrew Flanagan, who's the town manager in Andover, and Andrew Mailer, who's the town manager in North Andover, and Mayor Dan Rivera in Lawrence, who will speak specifically to the public safety issues and the immediate concerns in their communities, which is really what we're focusing on at this point in time. This is still very much an active scene. There'll be plenty of time later tonight, tomorrow morning, and into the next day to do some of the work around determining exactly what happened and why and what needs to be done to deal with that. But the focus in the short term is to make sure that we do everything we can to provide shelter for people who need shelter, to provide safety in the communities that have been directly affected by this, and to speak with the folks at Columbia to make sure that everything we're doing and they're doing is going to ensure that these communities remain safe overnight and into tomorrow. With respect to public safety, there's a coordinated effort that's currently going on between the local police departments in each of these communities and the state police to ensure that we have officers and troopers stationed in appropriate sectors across all three communities, and especially ensuring that with the power off, we have people to make sure that traffic areas, heavily traveled traffic areas, now and through tonight into tomorrow, have somebody there to make sure that with the absence of lights, we don't have accidents or issues associated with that. And in addition, to make sure that they're located in key commerce and residential areas to simply make sure that everything is safe and calm throughout the course of the night and into tomorrow morning. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Rivera.
What are you thinking right now?
I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Rivera. He's going to speak on behalf of Lawrence. I'm then going to ask Andrew Mailer to speak on behalf of North Andover and Andrew Flanagan to speak on behalf of Andover. This is still an active scene. We're going to spend a lot of time talking to each other over the course of the next few hours. But right now, I want these folks to have a chance to talk to the people in their communities. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Governor. First and foremost, be clear that things that happened in Lawrence today happened south of the river. So if you live south of the river, you should have evacuated. If you live north of the river, right now there have not been any incidences, despite you might smell gas or I've heard of something different. There is no issues north of the river. We're asking people that have not yet evacuated, please evacuate to the north. We did have multiple fires, multiple explosions during the day. Our firefighters have been supported by tons of mutual aid from communities I have yet to realize, but our fire chief and the rest of the public safety staff, they're not here with us right now because they are working. They're making sure that every street, every community, every neighborhood is safe. The police are deployed in the intersections where, because the lights are going down, and they've been the lights have to be turned off because the gas situation still has not been fixed. So we're going to make sure that it's as safe as possible as we figure it out. We immediately set up 2 shelters at the Partham School and at the Arlington School. That's on Arlington Street in Lawrence, and Partham School is on East Haverhill Street in Lawrence. If you cannot get out of the city, or if you have any questions, you should dial 211. We're using that as an information place. If you can't get out of your neighborhood and you need to get there, call 211. We'll tell you which is the closest location to get a bus. We have buses from the MVRTA, from the MBTA, and communities across the Commonwealth have come to support us in that effort. As soon as if those two shelters overflow, we will have a third one open right after that. Lawrence Public Schools is closed tomorrow, so do not send your children to school tomorrow as we figure this out. There is no expectation as of right now that people will be able to get back into their houses this evening. So if you're out of your house, stay away from the properties until we have made it safe for everyone. Again, the stuff with Lawrence is still, and I know there's been some conflicting tweets. Even if you're a gas customer in North Lawrence, there's not an issue. This is all of South Lawrence. I gotta take 2 seconds to thank all the folks that have been helpful, all the mutual aid, every state rep, every state senator that's been with us, talking to us across the board, have helped us a ton. The governor's office, FEMA, and we even got an email from the White House. People have been reaching out to make sure that we're okay. The reality is Lawrence is a very resilient community. We're going to be okay. Everybody's going to band together, and tomorrow during the late daylight hours, get back to work. And at the end of the day, we'll get over this one too. Andrew Mailer.
Do we have an idea on numbers at all?
Thanks, Mayor. Well, appreciate it. Just want to follow up what the mayor said. This is an active public safety event. It's impacted the town of North Andover beginning early this afternoon. To date, we have approximately 12 to 14 houses that were directly impacted by the events. Because we have not yet been able to identify a clear geographic area that have affected in North Andover, we have communicated with all of our residents that if they have gas service, they should evacuate from their home. We're operating a shelter out of the North Andover High School. We have resources there, including the American Red Cross. We do also have transportation resources that are being provided by the bus company, our school bus company. We have also closed school for tomorrow, so the public schools will be closed. Please continue to stay aware of the circumstance. We are trying to narrow the impacted area, become more aware of the impacted area so we can help return folks to the home as soon as possible. As the mayor said, we do not yet have a timeline. People should expect this is going to be a while before they're going to be able to return to their home. And always err on the side of protecting themselves and their families. Take the safe route, go to the shelters, communicate with 911 if they have any particular questions. That's the most important message tonight. Andrew Flanagan.
Andover Fire Rescue and Police Resources responded to over 30 reports of fire structures this afternoon. We've mobilized all of our town resources in the effort to provide and maintain the continuity of services to our residents. We are asking our residents with gas service to remain evacuated from their homes. We're going through a process with the utility identifying which areas of town that this most impacted in order to provide an accurate timeline of when people may be able to return to their homes. Right now, there is no clear timeline. We hope to have more information shortly. If you are in seek of a place to go, we've opened the Senior Center, the Youth Center, and Doherty Middle School. We're currently doing a needs analysis and a needs assessment to determine whether or not additional facilities will need to be opened this evening. We'll do our best to communicate that and provide any information with regard to the next steps for Andover. And I also want to thank all of the public safety community resources who've extended their hand in an effort to help. This has been a community and regional response and will continue to be one throughout the evening. Thank you.
And a number of the issues associated with timing around some of the key messages that all three of these folks talked about. We'll be back out. We don't want to get those wrong. So when we have a little more information about those, we'll be back out to speak to you again. I do want to give Mayor Rivera a chance to say this to the Spanish-speaking community in Lawrence so that they get the same message you've all got.
Las cosas que pasaron hoy pasaron en el lugar de Lawrence, que está al sur del río. Al sur del río. Si tú vives el norte del río, no tienes que preocuparse, el peligro no está al norte del río. Pero si tú vives al sur del río, es bien importante que ustedes salgan de sus casas y busquen un lugar donde ir al norte del río. No siguen para Andover, North Andover, porque el problema también existe ahí. Nosotros estamos trabajando con los bomberos de muchísimos lugares. Sí había muchos fuegos, había muchas explosiones. Nosotros tratando de trabajar para asegurar que eso se arreglen y estamos con los bomberos de nosotros y también de los de afuera. Los policías están haciendo patrullas, están trabajando con el Departamento de Policía Estatal y aunque no van a poder regresar a su casa esta noche, lo van a tener que hacer de mañana, después de un tiempo, no se sabe todavía, pero no van a poder regresar hasta mañana. Pero la policía va a estar activa toda la noche con muchísimas personajes, no solamente del policía estatal, pero también de diferentes departamentos del área. Su seguridad va a ser principal para nosotros, pero si están en su casa todavía sur del río, aseguren que se vayan al lugar. Si no saben cómo moverse de donde viven, pueden llamar el 211 para cualquier pregunta. Te van a decir a dónde ir para coger un autobús para llegar donde tenemos gente preparada para ayudarte, que es a la escuela Partham, que está en la East Haverhill, y la escuela Arlington, que está en la Arlington Street. So, estamos preparados para eso. Si saben alguien que no sabe cómo llegar a ninguno de esos lugares, llámanlo, porque no van a tener ni luz ni van a tener gas hasta mañana, hasta un tiempo que no se sabe. So, cualquier cosa que necesitan, 211. Nosotros somos una comunidad fuerte, una comunidad que se sabe cómo compartir en estos tiempos que son difíciles, pero vamos a sobrevivir y vamos a sobrepasar porque somos una comunidad fuerte. Gracias.
At this point in time, there are a number of injuries. But since I don't want to get anything wrong on that, we're not going to say anything more about that till we know more.
Is the gas company here? Are they taking questions?
They will be here later this evening.
They're not here right now?
They're not here right now.
How did this happen?
That's one of those questions that I anticipate we'll solve and deal with once we deal with all the public safety issues that are required to be dealt with through the evening.
Can you tell me how many people have been evacuated in total?
Pardon me?
Are there going to be any more explosions or fires tonight?
Based on the information we have available at this time, the answer to that question would be we do not believe so. The depressurization of the lines and the shutdown of the power in the areas that have been discussed was designed specifically to ensure that there would be no more fires this evening. There are still firefighters out there dealing with the remnants of some of the fires that took place earlier today, and I anticipate they'll continue to do that late into tonight and probably into tomorrow morning as well. And we'll probably come back again tomorrow during the day just to be sure that everything that they believe is out is in fact out. But the two main questions we're interested in talking to the gas folks about tonight, we'll get to them eventually about your question, is what time tonight do they believe that it will be safe for people who haven't been directly affected by this to return home? And then how quickly are they going to be able to work with the local communities, with us and with others to deal with the issues around lights and turning the power back on? That could take a little while. Yeah, sure.
Can I just say something about that? Again, the important piece of that is that's why the evacuation is important. If you have not evacuated, you just got to go. You got to get out of your home and evacuate. Don't wait for there to be a fire in your neighborhood. Don't wait till you see something. Trust us when we tell you, if you stay in your home, you're going to be at risk until we can get the all clear from National Grid, from Chemical Gas. We do not have that. I said something in Spanish that I forgot to mention in English, and that is we are working heavily with Lawrence Police Department, working heavily with the state police and NEMLIC, the regional public safety unit, to make sure that the streets of the city of Lawrence are safe. Despite what you've been hearing, that there is issues about, maybe there might be some crime out there. We have not had that, but if you do and see something, 911 is still officially working. Please contact us. You see something, say something. But as far as we're concerned, the governor has given us the full support of the state police with numbers of state police officers I didn't even know we had to be here in Lawrence to make sure it's safe. We shouldn't worry about that.
How many people are you asking to evacuate? How many people are you asking to evacuate?
Everyone who lives south of the river.
How many is there?
Everyone who lives south of the river.
No estimate.
Everyone who lives south of the river.
Sir, how many homes, we're hearing a lot of conflicting reports about how many homes may have caught on fire and there may have been explosions.
Listen, I know, again, get out of your house, go north of the river. If you stick around to try to find out if there's a fire next to your house, you're going to be in separate safety. So the answer to your question is get out of your house and go north of the river.
Governor, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, by the way, just one, Kurt Schwartz from MEMA asked me to clarify this. The gas company folks are here and they're working this stuff. I simply, in my answer to the previous question, said the question about what happened, I want to make sure that all the other issues associated with public safety are dealt with now and tonight and into tomorrow, and we'll get to the question about exactly what happened.
Has Columbia Gas been responsive to you? Are you satisfied with what they've done so far?
I would say that the response so far has been adequate, but there's a lot more work that's left to be done. If you were to ask me, give a grade, I think for all of this at this point is incomplete. We have a lot more to do. And by the way, we do have a whole ton of work that we're going to need to do for all of these homes that have, in some cases, been destroyed, and in other cases, very severely damaged. And we're going to have to come up with solutions for all the people that have been affected directly by that.
Emergency based on this, or what's the process for?
I mean, we're obviously going to consider all of those issues based on the facts available on the ground. At this point in time, we believe this is an active scene, and the most important thing we need to do is make sure that we get everybody in place where they need to be to make sure that the communities can go through the night without any power, without any lights, safely, and that we make absolutely positively sure that we understand all the issues associated with the power and the supply and the public safety associated with when people can return to their homes and under what circumstances.
And last question, do we know how many homes are affected, just in general first?
8,000 customers. 8,000.
It's
We've heard anywhere from 60 to 100 homes have caught
8,000
fire.
customers.
That's the kind of, right, that's exactly right. And that kind of answer is a range. And the reason it's a range because the answer to that is still subject to discussion. One of the things that's going to happen when we start to deploy folks, when these folks start to deploy folks from their police stations and into the communities, is they're going to be going there with mapping documents that are going to help them understand exactly which homes have been directly affected and which homes are nearby. And until we're absolutely sure about that information, we're not going to put a number out there that we don't believe we can be positive about.
For people that are home, everyone that's home at home watching you guys now, what do you want to assure people out there tonight?
I think the biggest thing I'd say is there's a tremendous force at work to deal with the fire issues. And again, all of these folks talked about how much they appreciate the folks who came in from all over the place to help them with that. And they absolutely at this point have that stuff under control. Will there be places where, they really need to water it down a number of times to ensure that it's out completely? Yes. But I think for the most part, people feel very good about that. The depressurization of the gas lines, which is what led to the cutting of the power, that process is well underway at this point. The public safety disbursements across the communities is designed to make sure that traffic is managed, the neighborhoods are safe, and all the rest. But one of the things we don't have an answer for at this point in time is when people can come back to their homes and where in each of these communities. And secondly, when people could anticipate that the practices that will have to be pursued to ensure that the power can come back on in a safe manner will actually be executed on, and people will be able to do that. But we're going to be back to talk to you again soon, okay? Thank you.
Can I just comment to North Andover on that, to the North Andover folks? What's important to understand is if you're unsure, because there is a level of uncertainty, stay away. Until we develop a level of certainty, which comes with knowing specifically what streets and what homes. We do have a number from Columbia Gas, but we don't necessarily have the exact addresses. So if you're uncertain, stay home. We have a place for you to go. We have a shelter. We will communicate when we become more certain. But the wrong message would be, it looks okay, and even the fires are under control, and have other properties which could be compromised, then be reaccessed by residents. So stay home, take the cautious route. We'll communicate when we know more about specifically impacted areas. Don't guess and don't speculate. That would be a mistake.
Thank you, guys. Can we just get an update before you guys go home for the night, before everyone goes to bed around 11 or 12?
Of course.
Okay, that's all.
Okay? Yeah.